The shopping season is upon us once again. Alas, it's 2021, and in this environment of low stock and high prices, I wouldn't hold too much hope of Santa dropping an RTX 3080 in your stocking on Christmas morning. Not all hope is lost, however, and if you're in need of a graphics card, I'm here to offer a few tips on how to pick one up. High street retail, which is like online shopping but worse, has been dying a slow death for a couple of decades now. The retailers that remain are mostly either still trading because they have an aging customer base that doesn't know how to shop online without getting scammed, or are big chains that make their profits on services and add-on sales. The latter kind are your best bet for finding stock, as they have a ton of purchasing power that often puts them first in line. In the UK, that means, unfortunately, Currys, the last retail chain standing in 2021. In the USA, there's Micro Center, and I'm sure other countries most likely have their own equivalent retailers. Once upon a time, these establishments were your best bet for finding low prices too, but it looks as though that ship has well and truly sailed. If you've been waiting all year for your graphics card, you may have come to a negative association with the word bot. It turns out, though, that some people have been turned to using their web-scraping stock notification programs for good. I found a couple of Discord groups that hit you up with notifications as soon as stock arrives in stores. Personally, I haven't been lucky with these so far, mainly because I keep muting my notifications, but using these Discord servers is pretty much the best chance you have of finding stock on a new GPU today. The downside is, well, you're not the only one looking. There are thousands, even tens of thousands of other users on these Discord groups looking to buy exactly the same thing you are, and each dedicated GPU hunter who joins the group makes the chance of actually getting hold of one a little bit more remote. Good luck. This hasn't proven to be a great value option lately, but certainly early on in the Scalper pandemic, there were a few enterprising bargain hunters buying up pre-builts. That is, PCs from OEMs like Dell, HP, Acer and so on, or from system integrators like iBuyPower, and stripping the graphics card from them before selling the rest of the PC on. These days, prices have adjusted so that this isn't a particularly economical approach anymore, but if you're after a specific card that is otherwise hard to find, like the RTX 3080 or RX 6800 XT, this might be one of the few ways you can get hold of one in 2021. Alternatively, if you don't have a full PC yet or can get a good price for your current components, you might consider just keeping the whole pre-built for yourself. This option comes with a few caveats, however, as a lot of these big companies have surprisingly little idea of how to actually make a good PC. I hate this one, but I have to mention it. If the card you want isn't available, or costs too much, you might have to consider lowering your sights a little. Yeah, I know, boo me, but don't shoot the messenger. I'm the kind of person who gets pretty angry about the whole scalping business on the regular, especially when it's been done through official retail. Every few days I look at the prices on Nvidia's online store compared to any one of the retailers who actually get stock, and my blood pressure climbs a bar or two. But cooler heads have to prevail. If you don't want to get ripped off by some dude who bought a dozen 3060 Ti's for $400 a pop and is trying to double his investment, your best option is to save your money. If you have a reasonable GPU already, hold on to it for a little while longer. If you don't, but your motherboard can support a CPU with decent integrated graphics, maybe pick one of them up and resell your old CPU. Hell, if you're not a hardcore gamer, you could even look at a streaming service like GeForce Now or GeForce Now? Xbox game streaming. That might work too. Okay, so if you scoffed at my suggestions of integrated graphics or cloud gaming, this one's for you. For the last year, my channel has been centered on the idea of extending the useful life of older graphics cards, so you can tell this is the option I'm most in favour of. You'd be surprised how well cards from as far back as 2011 can do in modern games, compared to the kind of limp options available on the new market. Now it's true, everybody in possession of an old but gold graphics card knows this, and prices have jumped a lot in the last year. I picked up an RX 470 for £65 in 2020, and an identical one in 2021 cost me £95 more than that. But if you're willing to take a risk on an eBay auction, Craigslist ad, or are lucky enough to have a company like CEX operating where you live, this is the best way to pick up a card that can game in the Scalper pandemic. Next week, I'll be looking at some more specific recommendations on used graphics cards in the Scalper pandemic, but for now, I hope that's been somewhat useful for you. Thanks for watching, kindly do the usual YouTube things if you feel so inclined, and I'll see you next time.